Ladies and gentlemen, Hebrews and Shebrews, welcome to the Life Podcast, where we inspire you to thrive as peculiar people in a modern world. And today we're doing that by talking with Madeline Dunn. She is a former professional skier, adventure sports person who climbed volcanoes, like tons of active volcanoes, more than anyone you know. And she did a lot of free soloing where she wasn't using ropes and climbing up, almost died. She watched people fall to their deaths. She was deep in the adventure sports sphere. She was sponsored by a bunch of the adventure sports clothing people, like, you know, Prana and the adventure sports car, Subaru. And we're going to talk to her about her religious journey and how she went into almost joining like a monastery and shaving her head, and she went into Buddhism, and she went into Krishna, and she went into all these wrong ways until she finally, and self-help, like that religious sphere, until she finally found Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, and how she realized he was the way, the truth, and the life, and came into the Torah then. Before we get into this episode, here's a quick note from the people that make it possible, Azure Standard. This is one of the largest food distribution companies in America. They are owned by Torah observers, so they have made sure that all of the products in their stores don't have any pork and shellfish or anything else that would go against the Leviticus 11 food laws, which is awesome. Azure Standard also has a new branch called Azure Canning Company. And we use these things for making sauerkraut, for storing dry foods in our kitchen, and also for canning. They have quarts, they have pints, they have half gallons, they have all sorts of sizes. So I love to drink out of them because they're harder to break than almost any other glass because they're thick and strong. So destroy the ball jars that you have in your closet that are decrepit and disgusting and old, and go to AzureStandard.com. Get Azure Canning Company's new, strong, beautiful canning jars. Use code THELIFE15 to get 15% off orders of $100 or more. And that would apply to Azure Standard, just regular dry goods, to the canning company, or to Azure Well line of supplements. It's all great stuff, guys, by great people. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you love what we're doing, like the video, share the video, subscribe, and tell everyone about the Life Podcast. Without further ado, I give you Madeline. Madeline, welcome to the Life Podcast.
Yay.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking. Thanks for asking.
Well, you have a really interesting story to tell that I think most people haven't. Many of the things that you've done, and I think we'll talk about, most people wouldn't have done or couldn't have done or had no idea the actual who's out there doing this stuff. So you're one of the people that have been out there doing this stuff, and we'll hear about it. Maybe could you tell us about yourself a little bit? Who's Madeline? And then get us in your testimony. Let's hear your story, your life story.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful to have the identity now as a child of the Most High. And that's part of the testimony, is I had this identity as a professional skier, and just identity in the things that I did, or even who I was, trying to find myself, and reading the personal development books tell you have the power and it's up to you, and they're painting that picture as a good thing. But we don't have the power. And so when you think that you have the power to determine things in your life, it's actually a very stressful experience. So I'm grateful to be a child of the Most High. That's definitely who I am. And I guess, how I came here. So we'll back it up to childhood. I was raised in the Catholic Church. I was an altar girl. So I had a little dress, and I'd do the things with the priests, like carry the bread, I think, and whatever, you needed. We would start like in the back room, and you walk down the aisle with, I don't even remember what I was carrying, but if you went to a Catholic church, you know what altar girls are. So I did that. And then...
and where were you at this point? Were you...
in Michigan.
Michigan, okay.
Yeah, I'm from Michigan. We're in Michigan right now. So I had about a 9-year period where I was away from Michigan, but I actually went to school here. And then after college, I left and moved out west, and that's when the professional skiing started. But I was actually, when I was an altar girl, I was still skiing because I was raised up at Pine Knob. It's here in Michigan, and it's actually a trash dump turned into a ski hill. We have a lot of those here. There's a lot of ski hills in Michigan. They just are small. So I learned to ski on ice, which was really useful for ski mountaineering because that was my sport. So ski mountaineering combines skiing with ice climbing, a lot of the time trail running because I was specifically pursuing glaciated volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest and then down to Chile and Argentina and further north. So you sometimes have these quad sport days where you're trail running and you got your skis on your back, and then you switch to skis when you hit the snow line, and then you're ski touring up. So your heels are coming out of your skis. It kind of looks like you're in cross country skis, but you're going uphill. You have mohair skins on the bottom of the skis gripping the snow, but you get to a point where it's too steep or too icy, and then you have to switch to ice climbing gear. And then sometimes you get to the top of a mountain or volcano and it's springtime and the top is actually fully melted and you have rock. So then you're burying your equipment, switching to rock climbing shoes. And I would free solo the whole thing usually, which was part of the craziness. And yeah, get to the top, and then you're on top of the world looking out for the next peak to climb.
Wow. And all right, how did that journey begin? What led you to that? The mountaintop experiences.
I liked mountains from skiing. So I grew up on Pine Knob, not really a mountain. Was on the ski team, more than just the school ski team. I started to do ski teams out west. So I would miss a lot of school and go ski out west. I never went to an academy. I had the opportunity to around age 16, or maybe it was a little bit younger. I think 16 is when I like peaked. I did the Junior Olympics a couple of times. I did pretty well, especially in the speed events because I was fearless for whatever reason. So I liked going really fast, and even as a young teen would just fly. I mean, I got clocked at 63 miles an hour once when I was like 14-ish, give or take a couple years. I can't remember exactly when that was. It was one year during the Junior Olympics. And yeah, I mean, you'd launch yourself off these little rollers. If you've ever seen downhill in the Olympics, they're very steep runs, and then there's these like little rollers, but when you're going 60 plus miles an hour, you fly off those things, and you have to stay in a tuck if you want to win and survive. If you second you open up, you like let all this air and you can get off balance. So I really like the speed events. I would go out west and race in those because you can't race in those here. We don't have big enough hills, so they really only do those out west, like Colorado area. But I got to age 16, 17, I started racing in like big girl races. Like I was racing in races with people that I would watch on TV ski, but I would be coming in like literally last place. It's like, well, okay, I'm not going to go to the Olympics. I guess I'm done. Like I didn't know what else you could do as a skier. Like I thought you either went to the Olympics or like you weren't pro. And so I just went on with my life, and I went to college. And then I graduated, went to a couple colleges, and I graduated, moved out west, and realized how expensive skiing was. I did ski in college, but it was like more for fun. But it was racing, but it was just like a college team. It was chill. Out west, I'm now like supporting myself. I'm graduated from college, and I realized lift tickets are like $200 to go ski for a day. Like, this is ridiculous. And my friend, who's a climber guy, told me that, well, you can just take that money and you can buy gear that lets you walk up the mountain, and then you don't have to pay for the lift ticket. Like, oh, okay. So I got the gear, and I just started teaching myself. I started learning. I would go out and follow men doing it because there weren't many women doing it. I fell a lot. And I learned on volcanoes. So most people learn backcountry skiing and powder. I was learning on ice. So at the exact same time I learned how to backcountry ski, I also learned how to ice climb. So I had to learn both at once in very dangerous conditions. So that was kind of all I knew for a couple of years until I realized that I could go ski powder, backcountry ski powder. And then I learned how to ski powder really well and just started to realize there aren't many women around doing this. Like I'm always with men, and okay, well, how can I actually do this to make money? Like I want to do this for a living. And I learned about brand partnerships, which we know about here on The Life. We've got some amazing sponsors. Shout out Azure Standard. We love you. Just placed my order yesterday.
I didn't pay her to say that.
No, they're great. So I started just getting some brand sponsorships. The first one was the hardest. I sent many pitches to create this presentation of my life, showcasing who I was as a person. And because I didn't really have any like accolades at this point. Like I didn't have a sponsor yet. I didn't have anything super cool that I'd done other than like some pictures of me on the mountain. You know, it's just like not very professional looking, but I got my first sponsor, a ski pole company made out of bamboo, grass sticks. And they were great. They were really a launching pad for me because I was able to use their product to show other brands that I was working with a company, and what that it's good for the company as well, because then if I'm on a photo shoot with another company, a ski brand, and I have the poles, and now the poles are being featured in a magazine that the ski company paid for me to do, that pole company is getting benefit like for just giving me the poles essentially. So that's kind of how it works. At least that's what I noticed, is you have these multiple brands and you kind of create, you're the brand, but you create your like tech stack of gear. So you have, you know, the bar company that you eat. And then I ended up getting like a car and like clothes. And really, if I needed something, I'd reach out to a company and be like, all right, I'll either do this many social media posts or you pay me this much. I'm going to be going on this trips this year. These are the other brands that are supporting me. Like if they kind of all have to fit together. Like you can't have a free ride company necessarily and like a ski mountaineering company that does like super skimo races, which is different than the ski mountaineering that I was doing, go together, because that gear doesn't go together. So you have to curate your brands well. It's all about like reputation, and a lot of who you know, the best athletes aren't sponsored. They're athleting without a camera in the mountains. They're just like doing their thing. They're not trying to get the shot while doing their thing. So I wasn't the best, but I was able to get some sponsors, which was really cool.
Wow. And that probably helped teach you more about marketing, which is now which we'll talk about probably.
That is how I learned about business. Okay. For sure. That was my first business and my intro to marketing and PR. Huge PR lesson learned there, because that's really what it was. I was getting in magazines. I was on the cover of a magazine. I was in a movie, international paid trips. I got a free vehicle. It really starts to build quickly, and it can get to your head, or I guess it got to my head. And I was just constantly seeking the next thing. I should say, I did not have, we'll go back to the Catholic thing, because around 8th grade, my family stopped going to church, and I didn't see truth there. I've been seeking truth, and I continued to seek truth my whole life. That's how I got here. But I pretty much walked away from the God of the Bible, specifically because I didn't know there was so much power and truth there. I just didn't know. Didn't do Christian church until the year before I came into Torah. So that this whole time that I'm in the mountains and living life, there were some other religions that I got into very heavily during the time, like in like the Hindu world of religions. There's a lot of them I didn't see truth there. And I eventually found the mountains as my church. And I would even say like, oh, the mountains are my church. That's where I find God. But I think I actually thought like that nature had the power. So it's kind of like nature worshiping. And it didn't bring peace. I mean, even though I had all these things and I was literally on top of mountains and getting paid to do this stuff. I mean, I was like at the top of my game. I would cry walking up those mountains, and I didn't know why. I was straight up depressed and kind of manic because I'm climbing these mountains free solo, hanging off of cliffs.
This episode of the Life Podcast is brought to you by The Christmas Question. The Christmas Question is a documentary that dives into the history of Christmas and where all the stuff came from. The date, the trappings, the traditions. It talks to all of the preeminent historians and scholars on all things Christmas, and to find out, is this stuff pagan, and how pagan is it, and is it appropriate for Christians to be doing? Does it passed the test of worshiping our Creator in spirit and in truth. And we made this doc along with 119 Ministries.
Can you explain to people what free solo is? Because I think not everyone knows.
Yes. Okay, so that movie Free Solo, Alex Honnold, if you've seen it, remembered his name, it's like that, but ice. And typically a little bit of an incline. So Alex Honnold's climbing like straight vertical faces, sometimes overhangs. For the most part, the mountains I was climbing were, there was, like a slope there. They're not all straight up, although definitely the higher you get up the mountain, once you get to the top, there's usually some sort of really technical move you have to make or pitch where you are going straight up.
And with no ropes, right? That's the free solo
There's no
defining
ropes.
factor.
No ropes and a lot of gear. So rock climbers are just like their body, and they'll sometimes have some stuff like hanging off their harness if they're wearing a harness, maybe in their pockets. I don't know. I didn't do a ton of rock climbing unless I had to for the ice climbing that I was doing. And I'm doing this free solo climbing with a backpack with skis on my back, with rescue gear. I was smart enough to bring stuff to, rescue myself or people that I'd find in the mountains. I started to develop some training. I eventually taught avalanche classes, worked at a couple universities as an adjunct professor, teaching the skills that I had learned in the mountains. I did it the opposite way. I didn't learn how to do it and then go do it. Like, I didn't even have rope skills. That's part of the reason I didn't use ropes. So it's just kind of a little wild and nuts. And there's something in there as a kid with the whole adrenaline thing, because I would go do these downhill races I was good at it simply because I wasn't afraid. I mean, smaller skiers aren't normally that good. Like, I'm not a very big person. I'm pretty small. And I was when I was a kid too. So I shouldn't have gone that fast compared to these other girls that had like more like weight on them that literally goes faster down the mountain, especially when you're a teen racing and everyone doesn't have like super high technical ability. I was just willing to let the skis rip. So there's something about that. I still am not really sure why I had that need for adrenaline, but that's what made me so comfortable in the mountains. It's like I needed that adrenaline. My mind would race. I got wrapped up in the world after I stopped going to church, and we were even in the world while we were going to Catholic church. It's kind of just like go to church and live your life. So I didn't have that solid rock foundation of being a child of the Most High. I didn't know him. I didn't have a relationship with him. I didn't read the Bible until I picked it up on my own recently, within the last 2 years, and really haven't put it down since. Just been ferociously reading and studying Hebrew. That's been really awesome.
So you got into this climbing volcanoes and free soloing. You just kept being drawn to the mountains and drawn to adventure, it sounds like. So let's zoom in, if we can, on the religious part. Like, when did you start trying to find some connection with God or some nature or whatever you want to say?
Yeah. It's like a heavy part of the story for me because it's really like unrighteous behavior, I feel like. And I want to just preface this with the reason I'm sharing this is because I want to be a light and an example to women who have children that are out in the world that aren't walking this way, that aren't that are really not walking this way, like they're not only participating in the world, but they're living like extremely alternative lifestyles. And maybe I've talked to many women that feel like they don't, they pray and they don't know if their daughter or son is going to come back. They're just like too deep into it. I was too deep. I guess it can't be too deep because I'm here now, but I was really into it, into the world and into these different religions, and I'll get into it, but I just wanted to preface that with, there's hope. And if you have a daughter or son out there that isn't walking this way, or you feel like, covered in tattoos and just isn't walking the way you want them to walk. I bring up tattoos because I have tattoos, and it just seems to be kind of a stigma, like the tattoos and the piercings and the cigarettes. And it's like, they can come out of that. And Yah uses everything. I think he let me live this life. It wasn't that I was rebelling. I didn't know him, and he let me live this life I'm about to share with you because I get to give hope and encouragement to people who have children that are living this life. So after my parents stopped going to church, stopped bringing us to church, there was a divorce, and we stopped going to church. And I got into like pretty bad stuff as a teenager in high school. There were definitely drugs and just like behaviors that I would never want my child to be doing. A lot of like bad attitude and much worse than that, to keep it G-rated. That's when it kind of started. I was like a hippie, started going like downhill from there. And then college came, and now you have this freedom. So it didn't necessarily get better. And at this point, I was seeking God in the drugs, I guess, not just alcohol. But that was a part of it. And I think I just didn't really know who God was or what he was. So I was trying to find it for sure throughout the whole story, because I came out of that for a little bit when I got into the Hindu religions, because they're not doing those things. They get high a different way. And maybe I thought like high was God, because I would feel that dancing in there's a lot of like dance in these different religions, and there's the deities and the sacrifice food and the milk and honey on the idols and the drumming on the streets, the evangelizing at the festivals. I was doing that with them. I'd never shaved my head and moved into the temple, but that was the plan. But then I got to a point where, the Father was with me through all of this. It's so amazing, where I knew there's too many things that were fighting itself within the religion. I was like, well, this isn't truth. Because I'd read the books. I mean, all these religions have books written by they'll call them sages or, different names. So I'd read the books in the different religions, move on to the next religion. Went into Buddhism for a bit. That one was interesting. Like sit and stare at a wall for hours with your legs crossed. And even if your legs were hurting and your body was hurting, you just sit through it. It's like through that, you can't find God if you're comfortable. So like being in pain is like part of a way to connect with God. And that was I'd already had that experience with a different religion where I wasn't taking a warm shower, only cold showers, sleeping with no pillow, because how are you going to find God if you're comfortable? You have to be in discomfort to find God. So I was seeking. I just kept moving from those religions. I don't even know if I'm saying that right with like Hindu, if that's even the right word, but it was like the Krishnas and then the Buddhists, some others, and eventually came to personal development.
How old were you when you started this journey? And is it your parents leaving the church that started it? Was that the kind of it's hard to tell?
It's hard to tell. I mean, they didn't support it. I was rebellious. They didn't want me to do those things, but I did them anyways.
So you're like 16, 17, 18, something like that, 18?
Yeah, I think I was 17, 18 when I got into the religions I was just talking about. I was still like living at home. Okay. Yeah, so I hadn't even gone off to college yet. I did do 1 year at a school for television broadcasting and film production where I lived at home for that year, so I was probably involved in that then through the age of 19. And then I got into Buddhism when I went to my first college up in northern Michigan. So that would have been around age 20. So like get the timeline right. But yeah, it was about 8th grade, I think, when parents got divorced, and I got into this lifestyle that they did not encourage me to do. I mean, I was rebellious. I'm sharing this to give other people hope, and I hope that I can, still bring my family honor and glory, and honor my father and mother, right? It's a commandment. I'm just trying to share.
Yeah.
So,
no.
Yeah. Still seeking God, and then went into the personal development world. From there, yoga brought me into that. So I got really into yoga. And
can you before you get into the personal story, can you tell us what is personal development? What does that mean? Is this like, what does that mean? And who does this? Or are there famous names in this sphere?
Well, when I think of personal development, I think of like the book category or bookshelf in Barnes and Noble that has the like self-help books, and they seem harmless.
All of Katie's favorite authors.
And maybe, I mean, maybe they are to most people. I I've just always been a little different. I get really into things, like too into things. So I read these books and I follow what they say. I'm like doing the gratitude journaling. I'm writing the things on the Post-it notes and putting it up on the mirror, speaking the affirmations. Those books took me into the like tarot card world. They're like very related. And the astrology world and human design and looking for, it's like fortune telling. I was looking for, what am I doing in life? Where is it going to take me? Where is life going to take me? I want answers. So interesting. When we think of witchcraft in this world, we think of like, you almost think of like people with black pointy hats on and like casting these dark demon spells. And really like a lot of it seems super light and happy and nice and good because you're trying to just help people. You're looking at the stars to tell someone what's going to happen in their life to help them, or you're taking the tarot cards out and doing the different spreads of the cards to help them get a grip on what they're dealing with. I saw a lot of truths in these different religions and things that I've done through my life. So when I came to the knowledge of the whole Bible, it's like all of the truths from all these different things that I'd already seen, but in one place, plus so many other amazing things. So it just hit so fast. I mean, when I went to my first Shabbat, it was before halfway through that day, I was all in on everything because it just resonated. It's like I already knew it. Like he had put it in my heart and I'd already experienced it in a lot of different places. We talked about that today. We're at the Torah Sisters retreat right now. And, there's a worm on the end of the enemy's hook. Like you get a worm, but then you're hooked. There's worms if the worm is going to be the good thing. In all these different spaces, like personal development. I'm not going to say personal development is bad, but it did lead me to this mindset of like, well, I have the power. I have the power to make things happen in my world, which means if things are going good, go me. If things are going bad, shame on me. And neither of those are good.
And so was it thinking that you were in control of outcomes of things that made you want to get into the tarot cards? Is that kind of the connection here? Or how did you bridge over from the self-help into tarot and that sort of thing? Was it like, oh yeah, I must have some little power of my own mind. Maybe there's a deeper power here or something?
Yeah. Specifically when I'm remembering being in Ann Arbor going to school at University of Michigan, and there was this bookstore and the self-help books and the tarot cards are next to each other. And they're just there. And the people I was hanging out with, it just wasn't a bad thing. I don't know. I didn't come from Christianity. So, and we went to Catholic church, but I didn't know about the Bible really. So I didn't know what it said.
There was like no wall of separation. Oh, tarot card, that's too far.
No, I had no idea. No, I thought it was good. I was like, oh, this is helpful. Yeah, it was just like light to me at the time. I don't feel, even through all this stuff, getting into, stuff in high school, like I knew I was rebelling against my parents, but I never thought I was rebelling against God, which is really interesting to look back on now.
Wow. Okay. So then you were in that. You almost joined this, shaved your head and joined was it a monastery or what was it? Okay.
Yeah. They wear the orange and like, beat the drums and chant their prayers on the street. That's how they evangelize. Bring people in to eat the food that's been, prayed over and sacrificed to idols. And what prevented you from that? The grace and mercy of our Father. I saw some issues in those communities. If you leave the community, you are like excommunicated, and within the community there's like drama. We're living this like what I thought was like holy life, but then there was drama between people in there. So like as I got closer and closer to the groups and the communities, I just saw some things that I knew I had to step out. It's like I don't want to be trapped in there. Like, I mean, you sell everything. You're not bringing clothes in or anything. You all wear the same thing. You shave your hair, you shave your head. and you live there and you just pray all day in silence, the silence retreats and all of that. I mean, you're in a life of, I thought it was holy because you're in this life of prayer and devotion. But I didn't know. I truly did not know. My eyes were closed to the one true God. Even though I was raised Catholic, I just didn't know.
Wow. During this time, did you think of any of the stuff you learned in Catholic Mass?
I don't remember learning anything. I went to Bible school too. I went to vacation Bible school. I went to, I did the stuff. I mean, I went all the way through like confirmation, which I think was 9th grade, where you just memorize some prayers, and I don't even know if they were all from the Bible or not. I went through all the motions, and I should say I'm grateful for all of this, because being raised Catholic allowed me to turn back to the God of the Bible. I did definitely turn. I kind of was like, okay, God of the Bible can't be it because of just what I experienced. Not experiencing like a ton of love and community and support being in that church. So I just was like, okay, it's not that. Let's move on. And then I started trying the different religions, but eventually got to the point of trying everything, including like professional skiing, nature worship life, where I ended up getting really sick. We've talked about the carnivore diet. And that's ultimately what brought me back to the Bible.
Whoa. Oh, should we jump to there? Or is there anything in between you almost joining the Krishna group and there?
Well, I was like 18 when I almost joined the Krishna group. And in 2022, so I'm 33 now. So yeah, I mean, I feel like a whole lifetime between that. So after not joining the Krishna group, I went to college and then moved out west, pursued the professional ski life, was living a very alternative lifestyle at the beginning of that. And even during it a little bit, I didn't have like discipline. I had no one disciplining me. I didn't have, I'm like a free bird. When you're living a country away, like on the other side of the country as your mother, like what's she going to do? I'm an adult. She can't control me. I was like uncontrollable, doing what I wanted to do always. I mean, I'd climb these mountains. She got me this satellite phone that would send her pings, so she knew I was like still alive and where I was going. I feel like she did everything that she could, but I just really rebelled. So, after I moved through those religions into yoga, still kind of brought yoga with me into the ski life, but then got really wrapped up in that. And at this point, I'm 23. You're supposed to like have a career or something. At that point, I wasn't like trying to get married and have babies. I wanted to be this, I don't know, like top of the world, boss babe, professional athlete, famous, I guess. That's what I was seeking. And I mean, when you're in the professional athlete life, there's a lot of parties, a lot of free alcohol, a lot of things. So doing that, it's just a part of it, part of the lifestyle. So it was a good experience to go through that. It taught me a lot about business ownership. I was able to support myself doing that for many years. And then I moved to Aspen, Colorado when I was probably around like 25, if I had to guess. Ski life didn't quite support the Aspen, Colorado lifestyle. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I need another business. I did some waitressing for sure here and there, but I was like, no, I need like a business. I'd realized at this point that my ski world was a business. I had a lot of 1099 work. I was teaching at a couple of universities and a community college, avalanche education at this point. At this point, I had a lot of experience in the mountains because I was chasing winter year round I think I did it for 2.5 or 3.5 years. So when it was summer here, I would go somewhere and ski. So I was getting full time on the snow, like how you want a kid training up for the Olympics to just be like full time in their sport. I was doing that with ski mountaineering. So I was traveling to Argentina, Chile, Alaska, Cascade Range volcanoes, until it was winter again. And then I'd go back to Utah or Colorado. So that was pretty wild.
So you lived in winter for 3 years.
I did. Yeah, I got pretty good pretty quickly at the ski mountaineering thing. Really, like everything like took off. But you're kind of isolated you're really isolated. I was living out of my car some of the time, just driving from volcano to volcano. I had a lot of goals. I would pitch these brands that were sponsoring me. I'd have like a nonprofit on board, and then I'd have like a magazine I was going to write for, or like a filmer I was working with, and then these different brands that would give money and or gear. And at that point, I would have to tell them what I'm doing, because I'm not like on a basketball team, or it's not, I'm like creating the professional part of it. So I had this goal of climbing all the Cascade Range volcanoes in one push. And these are the volcanoes between California and Washington. I mean, they span, it's like the Ring of Fire that span all the way over to Hawaii. There's volcanoes all the way down in Patagonia and Chile and Argentina, all the way up to Alaska, through Canada. I wanted to climb all the volcanoes, specifically between California and Washington. We wanted to go into Canada, but we didn't for some reasons. I wanted to do that as quickly as possible. Like, I was trying to set a world record. So I tried that 3 different years in a row. Didn't ever complete the goal fully, but I would pitch these experiences to these brands, and then all these different groups would get on board, like the magazine or the filmer. I'd be creating content for different social media accounts. I would do like Instagram lives at the top of like smoking volcanoes for these brands. Like, that's how I was supporting myself.
Wow. Okay, so you left the Krishna thing. Just to recap it all, you kept yoga, basically.
Still doing yoga through all this.
And then you kind of seemingly moved away from religion as a whole, and you just did the yoga thing, and as you were pursuing your career.
I was meditating still heavily, because I learned that in the Buddhism. But I was like 19, 20 doing the Buddhist transcendental meditation. Okay. So I was still meditating. I mean, that was climbing those mountains is kind of, you're just one foot in front of the other for hours. You're basically squatting with weight 40 pounds on your back up a hill in the ice for 12,000 vertical feet in the snow, and then skiing down over and over and over, day after day after day after day. So that alone was, I thought it was relaxing, but now that I'm looking back on it, you're just, you kind of empty your mind, and you're just thinking about one foot in front of the other, in front of the other, in front of the other. But I wasn't filling it with anything. I wasn't filling it with scripture. I would read, I had like the Tao Day whatever books. I still had some of those books that I would carry with me in like my notebook and my journal and my meditation practice. I was literally practicing meditation. I'd like empty my mind, but then you wouldn't fill it with anything. You just try to empty your mind, and then you just let it be empty. And it's like this like high experience. There's like kind of a similarity between a lot of the religions that I went through, and like the yoga. I mean, when you do like a hot yoga or a yoga class and you're feeling really good after, or a sport, like you're getting like your adrenaline and things pumping, and then after you get this like sensation through your body for a certain period of time, and then it goes away. With the Bible and what the Father fills us up with and what we get from the Messiah, it's everlasting. And it's not these like spikes of like high that then you have a low. There's a lot of like highs and lows in my life, including like up in the mountain, down in the valley. With the Bible and like having it make sense and having the instructions that I'm still figuring out and will be for the rest of my life. It's like I don't have these highs and lows anymore. I just have this beautiful, calm, peace, balance. And like I'm seeking more and more truth every day in the Word, but I'm not seeking something, like I was like seeking things. I didn't even know what I was seeking. I was just seeking. Now I have a goal. Like, how do I please the Father? How can I love Him more? How can I love people more? Like, how can I really nail those first 2 commandments? Like I like the Vav, the Hebrew letter Vav. It's a nail, and it's in the Yod He Vav He. It's nailing together those 2 He's, which some will say that, one is Jerusalem and one is Israel and one is heaven. And that Vav brings the 2 together, just like the Aleph has the 2 hands. One is God reaching down to us, and the other is us reaching up to him. It's like, how can I continue to reach up to him? How can I love him more? How can I love people more? Like, I have a mission now that I'm centered on. I'm not just aimlessly seeking anymore. I have this grounding in who I am, a child of the Most High. I still have the like fire. I've just redirected it to something that like matters and has eternal benefit, and even benefit here. Like, people are listening to this and maybe they don't even believe in eternity. Like, it really just, it helps your life here now too. Feels really good to help other people and to be a nice person. It's pretty great.
So it sounds as if you exchanged this endless seeking, purposeless seek fast. You exchange that with, once you found something, with purpose, actual life purpose, and man,
Biblical purpose.
Biblical purpose. So true purpose that will benefit you in this life and the world to come. And there's really nothing better than that.
Definitely not. The peace that surpasses understanding is the best part. I'm still praying for the Father to continue to reveal like eternity to me and put it on my heart and make me eternity minded and help me learn to store my, I don't know all the verses, like store my treasures up in heaven, and just figuring out what the whole Bible means. It's really fun. It's something I can do for the rest of my life. That's why I liked skiing. I was like, I saw my grandpa ski till like the end days of his life, and it's like, oh, I could do that for the rest of my life. Well, you can study the Bible for the rest of your life and continue to learn and be excited. So I can get to the Bible part, but continue to talk about the skiing. So I had the sponsors, the pandemic happened, changed some things. It brought me to Alaska. So I had these businesses. Also, I created these businesses in Aspen. I didn't really tie that up.
Oh, yeah. Can you talk about those a little?
Yeah, for sure. I started 4 in the first year. Don't recommend that. But I go all in. So, I had 4 businesses in the first year. I started selling my friends' art, and it was awesome because they're amazing artists and living in cool places, mainly mountain towns. I didn't know how to sell it. I had successfully pitched many brands, and it's like, oh, I can sell your art. I was waitressing at the time for a couple of different places, doing different things in Aspen, a lot of different jobs to like keep my life afloat there. It's very expensive to live there. It's awesome place to live though. It's very beautiful. So I would meet different types of people that wanted to spend a lot of money on art, but didn't know where to find good art. They were buying their second, third home in Aspen, and they didn't want to be treated like a tourist. They didn't want to find their art from Crate and Barrel. So I connected them with local artists, great deals on beautiful pieces. These artists are coming out of debt into abundance from these sales. Most agents will take like 40, 50, 60%. I would take around 20. I had a different deal with each artist, some less, some more, kind of depending on whether or not they were in my program. So I had online courses, or I'd teach them how to be better business owners, because if I'm going to represent artists, like they need to represent themselves and, just kind of look like a professional a little bit. So I would train them how to do that. I learned that through approaching these brands and just learning how to be professional. Like, I was like my own agent. I was my own agent. So I was teaching these artists how to be their own agent while also still doing some agenting for them. But I wasn't taking the cuts that most agents take. And I was connecting them with their buyer. Some agents won't connect the artists with their buyers so that they have to stay with that agent. It's kind of just like a deal. Like, you're just together doing this together. If you ever separate, well, those clients are actually the agents. They're not yours. So now you decide, oh, they're, why am I only making 50% on this artwork that I've been, I made this art. This agent didn't make this art. I don't want to work with them anymore. And like, fair enough. But they didn't learn how to be a business owner through that. This agent did all of their deals and everything. And now if they do quit that relationship, they're kind of just like at ground zero. It's like they still haven't learned how to run a business. They're good at making art, but they also don't have a network of sales to look back on and reach out to, because the agent owns all of that. So I was disrupting that model. It's actually really fun. And I started to have pop-ups and shows all over the country, and even I'd travel internationally. And I would actually combine my art and my ski world. So I would go do some art stuff in Germany, and then I'd go do a ski conference in Austria, and then go climbing in Italy. That was a really cool experience to be able to do that. Swing back through Switzerland on a train, stop in France for the day, hang out with a friend, get on a flight, come back. And that, I love the entrepreneurship lifestyle. It's what allows us to sit here and do this on a Wednesday. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And so, okay. So those are two. Is that two businesses, and what are the others?
Well, I started Madeline. What was it called? Like Madeline Dunn Consulting LLC, and then I had that business by another, that was like owned by another business that owned Aspen Art Collective LLC, and then I started Aspen Art Tours LLC and Aspen Art Curation LLC. So it's all of those doing different things. There were free tours happening for people coming in to check out the galleries. There's a really cool gallery scene in Aspen, lots of awesome art there. And there'd be free tours. Aspen Art Collective was the collective, the group, the community. I brought a bunch of artists down to Miami for an art show a couple of times, actually, like a big art show. Art Basel is the largest contemporary art fair in the world. And I had a hot stint working at American Airlines as a bag thrower on the tarmac so I could get some free flights. It's awesome. I went to Miami on those tickets, and I was able to go to Art Basel, figure out what it was. I met a curator there. I was representing one artist at the time, my friend, and he was like, "Why are you representing one artist? You should be representing 100 artists." It's like, "Yeah, you're right." And so I got 18 artists together, had a booth there at the Aqua Miami Art Show next to Art Basel. I mean, the next year, within like 11 months, that's an opportunity that artists can't pay to be involved in typically. And for me, not really knowing much about art, it was just wild. I've always been really good at like setting my mind to something and doing it. And by doing that, I was able to get all of these artists an opportunity that I don't know if they would have had another way. And I wasn't an artist, so I wasn't focusing on my own art or selling my art. I was focusing on the business end of it. So it was a really good opportunity. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And this is my first business. They were kind of all my first business in one, because then the Aspen Art Curation was selling the art to the new homeowners and doing that like curatorial deal. But the collective was like the pop-ups, the art shows, the online courses, the workshops, the teaching. I was teaching PR, teaching the skills I learned and to turn myself into a professional athlete just were directly related to what they needed to know to be professional artists.
Wow, you were just teaching them exactly what you had done for those years.
Yeah, and it worked.
Wow.
For most of them. I mean, not everyone, but it was awesome.
It sounds fun.
It was so fun. It was so fun. Mind you, I'm like doing the tarot and all of that during this.
Okay.
It's pretty popular in the artsy world. Just that new age. There's a lot of new age in the art world, at least where I was involved in. Maybe it just followed me. I don't know.
There's two things I really want to talk about within your story. I want to talk about the seeker culture in sports. So you seek, but you can't find. And I would like to talk about the art world and that culture as well. But should we finish your story first, or should we divert to those things?
Let's wrap up art.
Okay.
And then we'll go into like the seeking mountain.
Okay.
And then that'll bring us to today.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, then why would tarot be big in art? And why would this left-leaning kind of vague, there's something there, but it's similar to that seeking thing in the adventure sports too. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I interviewed Paul Claus, the pilot, he said, these people in the adventure world are all confronting death, sometimes on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
And they're witnessing the most beautiful nature. Often, more than often than most other people.
Yeah, places
created by the beautiful creation, but they don't believe in a creator. I know. And they aren't giving honor to the actual creator. They're like, oh, this is beautiful accident, basically. Mm-hmm. And he wondered, how could they be confronting death all the time and have no idea about the afterlife, or be, I don't know, seeking in one of these different religions. What are your thoughts about that, if you have any?
Well, I was fully aware that I could die in the mountains any day. Probably terrified my mother. I know it did. That's why she put a tracker on me. Um, I didn't care though. I like wanted to die in the mountains because life was hard. I mean, it's hard here. That's why we're eternity minded, right? We're overcoming. We're enduring. If we're overcoming and enduring, we're overcoming and enduring something that's not a cakewalk. So I don't want to be the person to keep like continually say life is hard. I've been working on that in my life. But it is it's not perfect here. And for me, the mountains were a place to escape life. I mean, it's a different kind of hard, certainly on the body, but that hard on the body, like when you're working out and then you're done working out, you get that euphoria. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like you feel good after you work out. Like your body feels great. Like eventually goes away and you work out again, it feels good again. There's some pain during it though. Like when you're building a muscle, you're breaking the fibers down to build it back up. And so for me personally, I thought I was going to die by 27 in the mountains. I was, and that was fine with me because life was really hard and I was in the mountains escaping life anyway. So I just was like, whatever. I really didn't care. And I'm just grateful that the Father cared. He's made me love life again. I mean, I liked what I was doing, but I didn't care if I died. And I figured, I also didn't really believe in heaven or hell. So I figured I just would cease to exist. I think I definitely would go through phases of like, oh, reincarnation. Maybe I'll come back as like a dog or something. I just didn't know. I didn't know. I knew life was hard. I knew the mountains were a different kind of hard that also felt good. And like the other people that had that kind of mindset were there, right? So I wasn't the only one that I definitely resonate with what you're saying and what the pilot was saying because I experienced that as well. A lot of people in the mountains running from something or running to something. And I don't mean like your mom that's going on a mountain run for like a workout and back to her family. I mean, people like me that were like selling everything and going and living in the mountains. That lifestyle, you are escaping something and you're replacing the hardness of life with the hardness of the mountains. But at least in the mountains, you're around a bunch of other people that you can relate with about how hard life is and how you're all not doing it together. Lots of trauma, a lot of athletes. I don't know if I've ever met an athlete without it. The extreme ones, at least I was always around extreme athletes. I actually wrote an article for a magazine. I won't name it. They wanted me to write an article for them, so I wrote it honestly about my experience about how there's a lot of depression and people that are in the mountains, professional athletes running from something, running to something, and they wouldn't publish the story. But I feel like today they would because it's more accepted, maybe like over promoted because we can be sad certainly. And I mean, I experienced clinical depression. I don't know what it was, but I was told it was clinical depression at a time. And I know that's real. Whatever, it's different for everyone, different beliefs on that. But like, I know that state of mind is a thing, but I also know what removes it. And it's the Bible, the truth, the word. The word that's my sword. I did a lot of things to try and remove like the dark cloud that I had in my head while I was climbing mountains and traveling the world and being on top of the world. I'd climb to the top of these mountains and I'd look out and I'd be eye level with every other peak left to climb. I wasn't celebrating my climb. I wasn't proud of myself. Just like, oh, I gotta go do the next one. It was always the next, seeking. I was never satisfied. Yet I was in the most beautiful places that God ever created. Just gorgeous places planes can't even get to. Just beautiful. It's like, why as an athlete I didn't see that God made that? I thought like, oh, it's the universe. I don't know. I just didn't know. And I don't know why. We talk about a veil sometimes in this walk, like veil is lifted. Who lifts the veil? Are people holding on to the veil? Does the Father lift the veil? I definitely had a veil. I did not know. I was not rebelling against God. I thought he was other things. And I had some, now that I'm saying that, I had some resistance towards like the masculine. I used to be like a feminist, which is I'm not, spoiler alert, anymore. Very into my role and my gender as female. But I used to not like that God was always referred to as a he. I had a lot of resistance towards Christians in the Bible. I did have that. But I didn't think I was rebelling against God because I thought God was like the universe and all these things, like the creation. I thought the creator was the creation. And I think maybe some other athletes did too, and still do.
It seems like a common strain. So, okay, you mentioned this rebelling against like the patriarchy, I want to say, but maybe, or whatever, or the paternal deity, the paternal creator, Yah, or whatever you want to say. And so maybe that's a good segue into the seeker culture, like in which you kind of talked about just now in your answer to that question. But what's up with the seeker culture where you're seeking, but if you find the answer and you're like, I actually do have the truth, and it is a paternal like creator deity, then they're like, well, we hate you.
I know, and that's when you lose all your friends from the past. But there's a lot of cool.
Why couldn't it have been a maternal mother goddess? Then we'd love you. It's like, what? Why is it? You could find something as long as you don't find what's true. In the seeker culture, you can seek and you can find, as long as you miss the actual truth, you can find and everyone's fine with you. Mm-hmm. But if you find the truth, then they're like, what? No, it's the paternal deity God. It's a male, masculine. It's this is, no. It's
yeah. I definitely am experiencing that right now. Once you believe that you have truth, even if you're not saying what the other person believes is wrong, you lose friends over it because they feel like they're being judged. And I've been studying that judgment. Like, who are we supposed to judge? Is there anyone we're supposed to righteously judge? Obviously, the Father's the final judge. I'm studying judgment in the Bible because people are definitely feeling judged, and I think maybe it's convicted by me sharing what I'm learning and what's helped me. It was like when I was really sick, like mentally ill, physically ill, we haven't even gotten to the carnivore diet thing and why I had to go on that. Everyone was okay with me doing all the other things, like the tarot cards and the personal development books and the gratitude journaling and the mantras or affirmations on the mirror. And that was all fine and cool and supported. And then I found the God of the Bible, and that's when friends started dropping off. Because if I found something that was finally true, and I wasn't just like, oh, everything can be true. If I found something that's true, then that means that I don't believe that what they have is true, and that was offensive. But they can believe whatever they want to believe. I'm just sharing what's actually worked for me, because those other things didn't work. It's a lot of seeking and no results. And now I found something that's taken the highs and lows out of my life, that's eased my mind when I still get into spaces of needing encouragement. I have it. I have the fellowship. I have the word. You can snap out of cycles very, very quickly with the word. Sometimes we go through tests and trials, certainly, or we're being spiritually attacked. But I mean, I used to go through months of depressive episodes. I'm sure they brought my mother to tears to see a child just being tormented by her mind. And I should have been fine. I had all the things of the world. But I was miserable. Seeking answers. So continuing to look in the books and like I said, like the Tao Day books. And I'm probably not saying that right, but through all the personal development, read a lot of books, Brene Brown, The Feelings, learning about the feelings wheel, doing different therapies. There's nothing like the Bible. I just can't deny it. It's amazing, and it's free. You don't have to pay some coach or someone to find answers for you or stir them up in you. Therapy's fine for people. I just don't need it anymore. It's great. I really don't need much other than the Bible and my fellowship. And I can eat all different types of food now, too. We were just talking about that.
Wow.
It's been a miracle. I'm going to segue into a miraculous vision. I witnessed a miracle in my life, surrendering my life to God for the first time, I guess. I thought I had surrendered it a bunch because I used to listen to Joel Osteen. He was my segue between the spiritual woo-woo world and where I am now. He was this bridge because he sounded a lot like the coaches and teachers that I was listening to at the time, but he used the word God. I was like, okay, this is different, but it sounds similar, so like I'll listen to this. And I was stopping drinking alcohol. I haven't drank alcohol in like 6 or something years, and you have to replace that with something. I replaced it with Joel Osteen. And praise Yah for using him, because I listened to him on repeat. And it worked. It brought me to where I am today. Stop drinking alcohol, start listening to Joel Osteen, start hearing the word God. Remember, the Bible is a thing. It's like, okay, Bible's a thing, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. The candles and the tarot cards and the incense, and still doing that whole world, still experiencing like kind of emotional roller coasters. Still doing the ski stuff and the art stuff. It's kind of like becoming a lot though. So the ski expeditions, it's like less ski expeditions at this point in my life because I'm living in Aspen, more like ski modeling gigs. So that's where you like wear the gear and go up to the chalet and like take the pictures for the magazine. So not so much like epic mountaineering. I kind of stopped that in, I don't know, maybe 2018. Pandemic shuts a lot of that down. I moved to Alaska. Up there, I'm still kind of flirting with tarot cards, personal development world, but also reading the Bible. So now I'm kind of mixing those two things. I also had a lot of coaches, kind of left that out. A lot of personal development coaches. There's a lot of people online that say they have answers. And I was following them. Like now I follow the Messiah. I was like following these online coaches. Signing up for their programs. The programs would cost like $333 or $1,111. And like they would even call themselves witches, but they were like light witches, just teaching you how to like manifest good things in your life. And like learning from them, but also realizing like for whatever reason, the Bible's coming into my life again. I've just tried, at this point, I've tried so many different things, and still having I'm not set free yet in my head. I'm like, why am I still experiencing depression and anxiety and worry and sadness? You know, I'm doing all the right things, all the gratitude journaling. I've got the businesses. I am a professional athlete still at the time. Like I should just be happy. Life should be good, but it wasn't. And I'm in Alaska, and this man is living in a garage at the end of our driveway, and he was a priest at his Russian Orthodox church in Alaska. He's native, and he called himself a shaman, and he was like the medicine person in their native group, and also did the Latin singing in the Russian Orthodox church. He's also a really good mechanic. So he fixes the truck, and he was part of the influence to get me to read a Bible. Also, at the same time, another woman in my life was being used by the Father. He's just so good with his people. Like really just pay attention to the people that are around you, because he's using them and he's using you, and it's in such subtle ways. And then you look back and you see how it was all connected. I was going to go travel with this woman, but she didn't want me to bring my tarot cards, do my breathing exercises, or wear my crystal earrings. She wouldn't share a hotel room with me. She was like business partnership. She had her own business. I had my own business. We'd collaborate. I was offended. I was very offended. Didn't end up traveling together. Reached out to her recently and just said thank you. Because after talking to her, she was starting to really share her faith with me. And I was like, well, yeah, I know about the Bible. Like kind of like in a prideful way. Because I was like, I'm not bad. You know, like what I'm doing is not bad. I know about the Bible. Got a Bible. And is a King James version. And for whatever reason, this had to have been the Father. I knew I had to read it front to back. So I would not divert from any page in Genesis to like move on to something else. I couldn't understand it. Like I don't get King James version Genesis, new to this, not having anyone mentoring you. It was a rough ride getting through that. And it was like, okay, I got to go to a church. I got to learn about the Bible. So I'm going to go to a church. They told me not to read my King James Bible. They wanted to give me like this small Bible, which I think was a New Testament Bible. But my Russian Orthodox priest guy who lived in the garage at the end of the driveway said, no, don't read that Bible. Throw that Bible away. Like, read your King James Bible. You're on the right path. To this day, I still don't know if he kept Sabbath or anything. Never said it. Never mentioned it. So I kept my King James Bible. But then I got sick really fast. Alaska has the long days in the summer, short days in the winter. It really affects the circadian rhythm. And it brought havoc on my body. That, and it could be a variety of other things that the Father was using to strip me from my skier identity. Because I was still pro skiing up in Alaska. We're now in year 2020. Okay, 2020, 2021. Because I ran away from the lower 48 to escape the madness of that. It was a little more chill in Alaska. So being up there, got a Bible, professional skiing, teaching avalanche classes, but then my health goes downhill. I have to get rid of my ski contracts. I can't use my hands. I had neuropathy in my hands. I couldn't hold a pen. I couldn't open a door. I mean, I went from like professional athlete to sitting on the floor all day in a brain fog for hours, not all day, for hours on the floor in one spot. Couldn't make it to the fridge, which was less than 5 feet away. I would forget what I was doing. I was so mad. Something was wrong neurologically. I had so many tests, so many pokes and prods, doctors trying to figure out what was going on. No answers. This is very interesting. Eventually gets so bad that I decided to leave Alaska, come back to the States. And within a couple of months, I have an experience on my floor giving my life up to God. My head was like pounding, my body, I felt so ill. I was so depressed. The sickness that I was experiencing was mental as well. The depression in Alaska is pretty wild in the winter. You don't have sun on your face for months. Sun doesn't rise. Where I was living above tree line for months. And then I don't know if the physical pain brought on that or vice versa. I was like mentally, physically, spiritually very sick. And I back to Mr. Joel. I had listened to Joel Osteen, done that prayer at the end of his sermon so many times, where you give your life up to the Lord. So I knew to do that, but this experience was different. So I'm laying on the floor, just wanting to die, just straight up. Didn't want to live anymore. Had like suicidal visions. And I was just like, God, if you're real, like, take it all. You can have it all. I don't want to live this life. Like, I was full body, full heart, surrendering it all. I remember saying, I'll be a nun or an usher, because that's all I knew. I'll be a nun or an usher. That's what I thought surrendering your life was. Being an usher to the pews in the church. And nothing really happened, but it was in the dark. And then I move over to the couch, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I have this like open-eyed vision, not a hallucination. I know what that is, and that is different. This is like a miraculous spiritual open-eyed vision. And it's like I was wearing these dark glasses all the time. Like, I was seeing through them, but I had glasses on. That's how I was living life. And then all of a sudden I'm on the couch. This is within a couple hours of giving my life up to God the way I knew how, with everything I had in me, to the point where I did not want to live anymore, legitimately. And it was like when you drop your glasses on the ground and they get a little scratch in them, and then like light's coming through different in this one spot. This beam of light just is like coming into my eyes, and I feel joy. I was like, what is that? Whoa. It's like, living a life where like you've been on a lot of highs and lows. Like, I knew what like a high felt like, whether from working out or from doing things I shouldn't have been doing. This was different. This was joy. Joy is like, I don't know. You should do your own study on it in the Bible, because it's different than happy. It's joy. Joy is it's something that I've felt ever since this experience. So I start to feel joy, and I felt like I'd never felt it before. It was like childlike joy, and I don't even know how much of that I remember having. And I wanted more. So I'm like just sitting on a couch in the basement, like a couple hours ago, I wanted to die, and I feel this joy. And I want more, and I'm like a joy hunter. And I have this vision of this like cave that I'm in, but there's an opening up top, and that's where the light's coming from. I can like see this. And I start climbing out of this cave, but like the walls are crumbling, and to climb out of the cave, I have to hunt gratitude. I knew about gratitude because of all my gratitude journaling exercises. And I start being grateful for the simplest things. I mean, to go from a space, I've really, I'll say, I've really brushed over like how bad like the mental stuff was. I mean, it was really, really bad. I've been experiencing it for a long time through my time in the world doing all these things. Like there was never peace, satisfaction. There was a lot of turmoil. And so I'm feeling this joy. I know about the gratitude journaling, and I'm finding just the simplest things, like there's a roof over my head. More light comes in, another scratch on the lens. It's like, oh my gosh, more joy. Okay, I'm sitting on a couch and there's people here that love me. More joy. And like the glasses start to, it's like the lens starts to fade away. And I had a dog. He was a service dog through part of like the illnesses. It's like, I have a dog. Just the simplest things, more joy. And I'm like climbing out of this crumbly cave. And then I get out and the colors got brighter in my life. And they've been brighter ever since. And I hadn't, at that point, I was like, okay, I need to start going to church more. And so I start checking out Christian churches, don't vibe with them. I can't, I'm sitting in there and I'm getting a good message, but I'm not learning about the enemy who I know is real. Because I was in the world doing all these things. Like the enemy is real. Knew he was real. He tortured me. I wasn't learning how to battle the enemy in the churches, and I wasn't learning about the Bible. So I went to a lot of different churches, ended up getting baptized, had pork and shellfish at my baptism, and then got invited to Sabbath gathering like 2-3 weeks later. And that day I accepted pretty much everything they said. I'm studying it all out now, of course, but they threw the big things at me, like the pagan holidays. It was right around Thanksgiving, Christmas time. So that was a shocker. Definitely like came on a little too thick for my family with that right around that time period. It was rough for them. I've had to repent and apologize for being so intense about it. I was just so excited. I'm like, oh, this is truth. I found truth. And they're like, yeah, you've said that before. They've seen me through all of it. You know, Yeshua talks about how, I don't know who says it in the Bible, but it's difficult to minister. You know, when he was back in...
A prophet is...
What is it?
Respected everywhere but his own town, to paraphrase it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Because they've seen you. Like, you're just a carpenter. You're just... No, you're the Madeline the hippie who changes her mind every year when she finds something new. But this is different, and they've seen change in me, and I'm so grateful. And I'm really studying things out now, and I just have this peace. My whole life is different. I've had so many blessings, a lot of challenges, but I've had peace through them. Or my family's like, oh, what's going to happen? Like, my dog almost died. Okay, what's going to happen? Do we need to because mentally I was so fragile before. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to forgive and, move on. I'm grateful to have the dog. I mean, I've just had this stability and this peace, and I have a boring life. I mean, I'm like an entrepreneur. It's very cool. I'm not climbing mountains. I mean, I work on my computer, and I have my garden, and I have my fellowship, and I do Shabbat every week, and, I cook my food, and I make everything from scratch. I'm very homemakey. I make all my own. I have a skincare business. So I make my own skincare products and I sell them, and I have a digital marketing agency, and I just have this little life that I used to not want. I was like, oh, I need to go climb mountains. It's way more fun. But my life is so good. So much better now than when I was out in the world and seeking. Now I'm learning, I guess. I mean, I'm seeking truth still, more truth. You know what I mean? Like when we're studying the word and we're still looking to learn. And now that Hebrew's opening up for me, it's a whole new level. I haven't stopped growing, I guess, but I now know that I'm in the right spot. So that's, yeah.
Praise God. I'm so glad that he woke you up eventually, It seems like you really did have to get to the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, he woke me up, but I had to give it all to him. But I did. I was willing. Still trying to figure that out. What's up with this veil? Does he lift the veil? Because I just don't understand. I wasn't raised in the Christian church. I didn't know. I wasn't good. I wasn't perfect. I wasn't even close to good. I lived a very unrighteous life. But now I have all this peace. And why did So did he lift the veil? Like, why isn't he lifting the veil of other people?
He says the sheep hear his voice, and Paul talks about, thus were some of you, and then he lists all these sins, the people that he was writing to, maybe in Ephesus, he says, you were this, that, and the other, all the things of the world. But now you're believers. I think that his sheep hear his voice personally. Yeah. And I think that it just depends on when will you hear it. And, yeah.
I'm grateful to be a sheep and that, he used what was meant for evil for good in my life, and that he's also given me these like skills and talents that I can help the community with, because now I've partnered with a few people that I've met that are Bible believers and, want to be honest and do good work and have skill sets in the world of digital marketing. Because I've been doing that now for 16 years, and I have an agency, and I've got a web designer and a social media girl and a logo designer. We do paid advertisements. We'll do a rebrand. We'll build you a website. We'll maintain your website, social media, content production. And I have a partner that does video production as well. And we, right now, we're working with believers, business owners that are believers, and even Torah believers and walkers in the way. And that's just been really fun to partner with them. I've seen a lot of lies in marketing, and I don't lie to the best of my ability. So marketing without lies, it's kind of rare, and it's pretty awesome. So it's a service that I offer. And then I have my skincare business as well, and just stewarding those things.
Where can people find those things? Where can they hire you or buy your skincare products?
So sherpaskin.com. So Sherpa, like a mountain Sherpa. So I used to actually guide people in the mountains, and now I'm helping people with organic skincare options. I've been making my own stuff for a long time throughout the whole ski thing. When I became a hippie in high school, I got really into like natural fibers and homesteading and homeschooling and organic eating, and just becoming aware of all these things that a lot of people in our community are aware of. So I had that in my pocket, and that's also what made me know this was truth, because it was like it just took everything that was good that I knew of and like put it in one spot. So sherpaskin.com, and then madelinesmarketing.com, or hi at Madelinesmarketing. And I'm sure you'll put that below so people know how to spell all of that. And then Instagram and Facebook. I do social media for other brands, so I'm not super on top of mine. My businesses are very grassroots. I really don't have to do a lot of marketing for them. I work on marketing other people's businesses, but my personal Instagrams are Madeline Cecilia Dunn on Instagram, and then on Facebook it's Madeline Cecilia Dunn as well. If you want to reach out and say hi, if you want to share your story with me, you can contact me those ways.
Is there any last thing you would like to add?
I've been trying to find ways to share what I do with family and friends, because just like when I stopped drinking alcohol, I've gone through this phase of like, okay, new friends, but old friends. It's hard to be friends with people that think you're judging them all the time. They don't want to be friends with you. And so I have a way that I talk about what I do that might be a fun analogy for you guys about why I keep the commandments. If you think of like love languages, okay, so that book might be a self-help book, so careful. I'm just kidding. The love languages, I think it's cool. There's a few of them, and if you haven't heard, it's ways that we all interpret different ways of being loved. Like some people feel loved when they're given gifts. Some people feel loved when time is spent with them. Some people feel loved when acts of service are happening for them, like fixing the roof or unthawing the frozen pipes in your 125-year-old house, whatever it is. So I see the commandments not as a way for God to love me, because he's going to love me no matter what. He's awesome. He loves his children. Like if I was married and my husband told me like, this is my love language, I like being loved by you spending time with me. And I'm just like, well, I love giving you gifts. So I know you're not going to divorce me if I keep giving you gifts, even though I know that you like quality time. I like giving you gifts, so I'm just going to keep giving you gifts because that's the way I want to love you. And I know you're going to love me no matter what. That's how I feel like the commandments are. Like they're all of them, not just like the first 10. It's the Father showing us how he wants to be loved and how he wants us to love other people. Once we see that, it's okay. Like if you don't know, you don't know. It's like, I didn't know my husband liked quality time. I love getting gifts, so I'm going to give him gifts. That's how I'm showing him love. But once you realize like, oh, this person wants to be loved this way, and they love me so much, I want to love them. That's how I see the commandments. Like I get to learn how God wants to be loved now. And sometimes it's a little different than how I, love God in the past. I used to love God in the past through a lot of the things I would share with you, like the tarot cards and the universal stuff and the meditation. Like that's how I thought I was building a relationship with God or source energy, universe, whatever I was calling it. But now I'm like, I know God's love language. So I'm learning his love language and I'm showing him that. And it's becoming my love language. It's really cool.
That's great.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And if you know how he wants to be loved, why wouldn't you love him that way?
Yeah.
Especially when that you doing those things is a light yoke. And that's how he describes it. Mm-hmm. He's not asking a lot of you. He's not asking you to go find the commands that he wants up on the mountain. He gave it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, he gave it to us, and it actually also benefits us. And it's what he wants. It's what it says. So I'm gonna do that. And I know even if I don't do it, he'll love me. And I want to love him. It's fun loving someone, right? Like it feels good to love someone the way they want to be loved. So it's a fun little analogy you can use to explain why you keep the commandments to someone that's feeling kind of like attacked or like, what are you saying? God doesn't love me if I don't stop eating pork? Like, no, it's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I love him by not eating pork or whatever it is.
By doing the things he asked you to do.
Yeah, like if you have a flat roof, build a fence. There's a lot of like really simple ones. Is that right? Like if you have a flat roof, you build a balcony, fence around it.
You build the parapet or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's the King James word.
The gate thing.
The railing.
I don't think I made it that far in my King James. Mid Genesis.
Well, interesting that that's also in our international building code. Any sorry to get nerdy, but I wrote for an engineering magazine and I can't forget it. So any structure that's over 4 feet tall has to have a railing. This is something important that we realized, but he realized it back then. And that's just one example of all the ways that he loves us through us loving him. It's crazy. It's symbiotic.
Yeah. I'm continuing to let things go as I learn and grow and see, like even a couple months ago. So I should say at this point in my life, it's 2025. What was it? May of 2025. I did my first Shabbat last week of November or first week of December in 2023. So I've had like one full feast season. It's very fresh. So constantly, I'm absorbing all of the things. Michigan is beautiful. There's so many fellowships here. I'm so grateful. Lots of just like tiny little differences in beliefs and way we do things in different groups. And so I'm absorbing all that and I'm seeing it all and I'm learning and we're not doing the commandments perfectly. It's not about that. It's like a heart posture. So use the love language analogy if you need to. But yeah, obedience isn't as bad as it seems.
Maybe before we wrap up, can you tell? You mentioned the carnivore diet and stuff.
Yeah.
Can we hear a little bit about that aspect of your life as well? Like, why did you need to do that?
Yeah, this was after Alaska. So I had gotten ill, neurological something, because I had this neurological pain through my body, and mentally I was like not well. So neurological on many levels. I had found out about the carnivore diet through a friend. He sent me a Instagram live that this woman did about how a carnivore diet healed her MS. And she had been diagnosed with bipolar, so she had mental and physical. Doctors thought, I could have MS. Maybe I have some of the symptoms. I was never diagnosed with that. So I was like, okay, carnivore diet helped her. So I ended up, when I got back to Michigan is when I officially started the carnivore diet. Ended up doing it for about 2 years. It was harder than stopping drinking alcohol. That was, if you guys have tried it, you know, that diet is so hard. Food is such a like community thing. So I did beef, salt, water for the first 45 days. I was eating pork at the beginning of the carnivore diet. And then when I found out I wasn't supposed to eat it, I stopped. So definitely ate a bunch of pork on that at the beginning. Beef, salt, water for the first 45 days. My neuropathy in my hands went away in about 4 days. I used to say the carnivore diet got rid of the ailments, but I believe Father used the carnivore diet. Like whenever now I'm taking supplements or something, I do my best to remember, like, it's not this supplement that's healing me. Like, it's the creator. It's not the carnivore diet that healed me. He's using that just like he uses people in our lives. He uses everything. He made all of this. He's using it. And so he used the carnivore diet for really good things in my life. Neuropathy went away almost immediately, a couple days. So clearly I was eating something that was causing insane inflammation in my body. I went from eating a bunch of stuff to cold turkey. I was eating organic and like paleo and all for like 10 years before this. I wasn't not eating healthy. I was eating like the world's version of like super healthy. But the plants or the tree nuts or something, a combination of it, too much of it, like I just had a lot of inflammation apparently. And I think they say inflammation can cause some like mental stuff too, like your brain just inflames or something. I don't know. But 4 days into the lion diet part of it, beef, salt, water, neuropathy went away in my hands. And then ate just animal products until like maybe 6 or 7 months. I started eating blueberries. So now I'm on like a little bit of fruit. So animal based, eggs, dairy, a lot of raw dairy, beef, mainly ate beef. I ate some deer, the pork until I didn't. Some fish, butter, salt, water. I mean, I didn't even drink tea for like a year and a half, 2 years. Like I was just water, warm water, carbonated water, cold water, icy water. Like you can do a lot of things with water, really spruce it up. It's a very boring diet, quite the spiritual experience. I mean, it was a fast in a way. And it takes some spiritual strength to do that. It was really hard. Also like nauseating at the beginning because I had some oxalate toxicity. There's oxalates in certain foods. I've heard they're in blackberries and like spinach and almonds and some other foods. Do your own research on it. This is just, I've done my research on it and I was eating a lot of those foods. And when I stopped eating those foods, Sally Norton has research on it, and she says that when you stop eating them, your body stops holding on to them. Oxalates are like little glassy shards that hold on to, somehow they're in the plants and the nuts, and then your body holds on to them. When I stopped eating them cold turkey, they started coming out of my body. Like I had like little glass shards coming out of my stomach, chest area. Yeah, I've heard people like to come out of their eyes. So yeah, oxalates, it's a thing. Look it up.
I just bought a bag of almonds yesterday.
I saw that.
What is it? Oh no.
I don't know.
It's a lot of glass I'm going to have to chew up before I expunge it.
Maybe everyone's different. Well, we are all different, right? We all need different things. So I still don't eat almonds.
I need those oxalates.
I used to eat so much spinach. I was eating almond powder like it was my job. Like it was in everything. Almond powder, almond flour was my thing that I used to make stuff, whether it was like savory or sweet. So I personally just avoid those things now. I do eat other foods. I used to have a lot of food allergies, went carnivore diet. I was eating kind of a lot of things, but not the things I was allergic to. I was allergic to like stone fruits, raw tree nuts. Stone fruits include like avocados, peaches, plums, apples, pears, some melons. Yeah, just random things would like upset me. I was very sensitive. Then I did this carnivore diet and some other cleansing recently, and I'm eating like pretty much anything that's biblically clean. So praise Yah for that.
Was it the parasite cleanse that you think solved that? I mean, I know Yah is in charge, but for you, your action, like diet actions, parasite cleanse is kind of what allowed you to eat everything again. Everything clean.
Yeah. Because after the carnivore diet, that was almost 2 years. by the end of it, I was introducing fruits, but I didn't eat vegetables for about 2 years. I started eating vegetables, but then I would like throw up or weird things would happen. It was a multi-month process to get my body to be able to start eating some foods. But now, after carnivore dieting, the neuropathy went away and like inflammation went down. My hair was like all beautiful and long and my skin was awesome. I mean, I was like super like fit and trim. I mean, when you eat like fat, all the fat goes away. Like it is wild. That diet is crazy. I started eating some vegetables. Now I'm like allergic to things I wasn't allergic to before, which was really weird. And the father, it took about 1.5 years. He was showing me like, you need a parasite cleanse, you need a parasite cleanse. But I didn't really know how to do it. And they say you can't do it when you're eating a lot of meat. So I was like, I can't parasite cleanse because I'm still eating like mainly meat, even though I'm not full carnivore diet anymore. Eventually, I did it recently after last Sukkot. I did a 14-day fast with the Master Cleanse, that lemonade diet. Lemons, maple syrup, cayenne pepper, water, and then the salt flesh. That was 12 days, and then just orange juice on either day of that. So it's like 14 days. And then I've done a few month rounds of different like parasite pill cleanse kits. And since doing that, I've been able to eat foods that I couldn't even eat when I was a kid. So I do think that some of those parasites came from pork. I don't know what caused the allergies from when I was a kid, if it was related to like the jabs that you get at the hospital or what. But most of the allergies are gone. I still have some seasonal allergies that I'm praying the Father removes. And then some foods still, like a raw apple. If I just take a bite with the skin and everything, it'll make my throat a little itchy. But for the most part, I'm eating like everything that's biblically clean. And it's been many, many years, I mean decades, since I've been able to eat like this. I've had food sensitivities for so long, and stopping eating pork and shellfish, doing the parasite cleanse, and I'll probably still do another one. But yeah, I'm pretty happy to be eating the food that Creator made for us.
Wow, I'm glad that you found the truth and you purged all this diet stuff out of yourself or whatever, all the parasites. So now you can eat anything clean.
Yeah.
All right, would you like to add anything to the Christian world or to the non-Christian world, the adventure world, or to anyone out there?
I guess like a couple things. I want to, I'm still grieving some lost friendships and just some like experiences that I've had where I've shared what I think is truth, and it triggers someone to the point where they get upset and think that I'm like coming at them or think something bad of them. I mean, yeah, I don't think what you believe is true, but why does it matter what I think? Like, why is that even bothering you? So if you've ever heard someone share something that they, is true for them, and your life doesn't have the peace that I'm describing, maybe look into it. I mean, my life should have been really good, and it wasn't internally. And the Bible, the church is, we hear about bad things that happen in the church, right? And it's a bummer. There's going to be bad people. But don't hold that against the Bible. That book is a miracle. That was another reason I wanted to read it. The fact that it even exists without the spelling errors and all the authors cross-referencing each other, and that it's even still in publication. It's just, there's no other book like that. I've read a lot of the other spiritual books. This is different because it's free and it works. There's no catch. Like, yeah, you have to live a little bit of a different life, but it's great. It's great. It's not bondage. It's freedom. It's totally freedom. Have you seen the memes you have of the cows where there's a fence around their pasture and then the cows are hanging out all over the pasture? And then there's the picture of the cows where there's no fence. They're like in the wild and they're all huddled together. The instructions in the Bible, that's our fence. It gives us freedom. I love that. I was always looking for a way to live. I was hiring coaches, looking in the books, this personal development books. I was looking for a way to live. I wanted instruction. Like, a child without discipline is not going to be a very good child. It's a good thing. So yeah, to people that are like still seeking, not so sure about this whole like Bible being the truth thing because of maybe some past experiences that they've had with the church. the Bible's amazing. Doesn't matter what translation, just the Bible's awesome. And then to the athletes, just be careful. Your life is precious. It's beautiful. Life's amazing. You don't have to be on top of a mountain for it to be awesome. In fact, you can't really interact with a lot of people when you're out there. And interacting with people is one of the most beautiful parts of life. And as an athlete, you do have a lot to share. So I recommend coming down from the mountain, at least for a little bit, and spending some time with people. It's scary. I definitely was running away from people too. A lot of like people haters out there, but people aren't that bad. They're pretty cool. God made us all great. And then specifically, again, to the moms who have children that are out roaming the world, getting into things that, you feel like they might never come back from. He's a big God. He made this entire world we're living in and all of the things, and he made you and he made your child, and he's got them. He had me. I mean, did I share the slip and fall where there was the where I almost died? Okay. So, I mean, he had me when I wasn't even seeking him. Like the God of the Bible. I was like, all universe, nature is my God, church part of my life. I was free solo climbing, one of those quad sport days where I was trail running and then I was ski touring, so walking with my skis up the mountain, and then switched to ice climbing gear. And I didn't switch. I messed up. Usually when you make a mistake in the mountains, it's like 2 or 3 things are going wrong at the same time. You can usually get away with like 1 thing going wrong, but this time it was 2 things going wrong. I had misinterpreted the slope angle, and I didn't have the right gear for where I was on that mountain, because it was easy. It was like an easy mountain. It was the first of 18 that I climbed in 28 days. I did over this trip, I climbed the equivalent of Mount Everest 4.7 times in a month from base camp to the summit. And this was the first mountain. I was like, oh, this is no big deal. I don't even need crampons for this. And just go up this thing, come back down. Might even do 2 in a day. Like, it's no big deal. Well, I almost died. I slipped and I fell. And it was fast. I had done some self-arrest training. At this point, I had taken some courses. And I was ice climbing. I slipped, and the picks flew out of my hands. You got spikes on your feet. There's a lot of sharp things just like flying around, like cheese grating down this mountain. And it was like, felt like imminent death. Like, okay, you will surely die. And I'm above tree line, maybe half a mile above tree line. And I would have died. I would have slid through these trees. I would have slid like half a mile plus down the icy slope. And then if I was still alive, I would have just gotten battered and bruised through trees like a rag doll. But I got snagged by this bush that I didn't remember being there. I mean, maybe it was there. I don't know. But there was a bush that snagged me and caught me. It reminds me of the burning bush in the Bible. It was not on fire, though. And I had like a scrape on my thumb, and that was it. And then I just kept climbing. I had 2 other near-death experiences also that God, he had to have been there with me. Because, again, I jumped off this 60-foot cliff into the water, and I had to clear 20 feet of like boulders. This was in college. It's a miracle that I survived that. I got really hurt. And then I was in a car accident that flipped going 80 miles an hour on the highway for over the length of a football field. And we landed on all 4s in one of those cop turnarounds. No one else was in the accident. There were like beer bottles flying through the car. Didn't hit me or anything. All that. The car was so totaled. And glass all in my body. I ended up being fine. So he's got your child. They might be going through some hard things. Keep praying. But just like let the Father be in control. And just keep praying. They'll come back.
Oh, Madeline, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Life Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for watching this show. If you love what we're doing, like, share, subscribe. If you really want to support us, go to patreon.com/thelifewithluke and do so there. Thank you.